I'm here with Dr. Alex Paziotopoulos from the Pazio Institute. And Alex is an expert in nutrition and what to give your body and what not to give your body. Now, I'm all about not focusing on, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, just kind of go, well, what is good for me? And going from there. So I wanted you guys to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, that there are some things that maybe you should stay away from, but why? So that then you can make that educated decision yourself. And what do you replace it with to get those nutrients? Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. It's nice to be here.
Cool, thank you. So let's start really with somebody who they've never done a detox, they're just eating whatever they want to at the moment, but they're thinking, you know what, I'm starting to feel not that great. And it does happen with age. You stop being able to process the crap that you used to be able to process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where do they start?
Well, I'm jaded, right? Because I think that the way that we approach it is the way that really everyone should be doing it. So humans, we're all very complex machines. And if we look in the world of engineering, how they take care of complex machines, whether that's an airplane or whether it's a production machine, whatever it is, they forecast what's going to fail on that machine. Mm-hmm. They work on how do you maintain this machine and how do you optimize this machine to work better than the people that designed the machine in the first place. Mm-hmm. Right? So they have all these schedules that are written out. They're always constantly testing these things to make sure that they're performing quality.
Is routine maintenance.
Routine maintenance and forecasting and testing. Mm. And it's just this repeat. You know, you test, you apply some knowledge, you do some maintenance, you replace some parts, you tweak it, you get it working well. Mm-hmm. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Mm-hmm. Right? So you get in an airplane and it's 30 years old, but it runs just as good as a brand new airplane right off the line because of engineering. Mm-hmm. Now you go to your doctor, and what does your doctor tell you? Oh, I want you to exercise. They don't tell you how to exercise.
No.
I want you to eat better. They don't really tell you how to eat.
Yeah.
Right? And they work on 1 to 2 problems per visit.
But I find too that they don't customize it for you. You know, so someone will say, you know, you've got to exercise, lift some weights. Well, I build muscle very quickly, and I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. It's not my style. Right. You know, and then they go, and then you need to eat all of this, and I don't eat dairy. And it's like, have you even listened to me, or do you even care about me?
Yes.
You know.
So, and that's another big problem. So, you want to find out who are you, right? You're an individual. So, if I want to find out who you are, one, I have to get a large questionnaire done. Mm-hmm. So, from your questionnaire, I'm going to find out what you like, what you do, what your symptoms are. All of this stuff I'm going to get just from a questionnaire. I'm going to review your medical history. And then we're going to test you head to toe. Not over a year, but all the tests in one point in time.
Right.
Right? Because then it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Right? If I got a toxin panel on you now and a hormone panel on you in 2 months, and that's not how an engineer would test a system. Mm-hmm. Right? I want to know, where is this person right now?
Yeah. Let's run the analytics.
Then I want to know that you're in. Because if I have a person that's coming to me and they're kind of halfway with it, they're not really committed, I can't help them. Mm-hmm. Right? Are you committed to make changes in your life that are going to benefit you? Mm. Right?
Do you think it's sometimes the way that Western medicine is set up that people don't realize they have to commit to making a change? Because at the moment we go to the doctor, we go, something's wrong, give me a pill to fix it.
Yeah, everyone has been brainwashed. Mm. Right? And we've been brainwashed by commercials, right? It's a conflict of interest to have a commercial for a medicine, but it's allowed because these large pharmaceuticals have lobbied in order to be able to do that, right? And they said it was bad that they could, you know, let doctors go on cruises and stuff like that because they were influencing them to give certain medicines. Well, now they're influencing the public directly. Okay. What's worse?
Yeah.
Right? An educated person that can make a decision because they have the knowledge, or the lay person, right? So, anyways, we've all been programmed to say, oh, I have this problem, it's cured by this pill.
Correct.
Right? Which we know doesn't cure anything. Right? Pills don't cure something. They either block a system or they enhance a system. And they usually do that with a side effect, right? Or damage to an organ or something else.
Yeah, it's only the symptom that they're ever prescribed for.
Now, that said, there's plenty of pharmaceuticals that are very, efficacious and necessary.
And have their place.
And have their place.
Save lives.
Right? And I use plenty of them. But in a program, so creating a program for someone, and this program is their entire body. So I want to know, how well is your brain communicating between the different parts of your brain, right? What are the frequencies, alpha waves, beta waves, et cetera, right? What's your posture like? What's your range of motion like? What's your strength to weight ratio, right? All these different aspects of your physiology, right? Then how your organs doing? What's the status of all your organs? Where's your hormone levels at, right? What toxin levels do you have? Do you have any heavy metals with you? How are you metabolizing hormones, which is even more important than the hormone levels? So we go through all this and many, many other tests.
And you surprised me when we were talking earlier, and I said, well, with the heavy metal, there wouldn't be that many people that would need to do that. And you're like, wait, Rachel, actually, pretty much everybody does. And that was surprising to me.
It's astounding how many people have levels of heavy metals that will interfere with their mitochondrial function as well as other enzymes in the body. Now, if you talk to the Food and Drug Administration or some of these levels, the Western medicine says, oh, that's not a toxic level, right? Any level of mercury, arsenic, all that kind of stuff, it's going to be causing problems with the way enzymes work.
Who says that
right?
Why is there an okay level at all?
Yeah, there shouldn't be, right? We don't want anything. All these things are going to do is interfere. Can you live with heavy metals? Yeah, everybody does. Can you thrive? Not so much, right? And at this point in time, with all these changes in anti-aging medicine, we need to buy time, right? That's the most important thing I want to do for everyone. I want you to have the greatest vitality that you can have, and I want to buy as much time as I can for you until these other technologies come into play so that we can live an even longer life.
And I live long enough to live forever.
Pretty much, right? And we're the first people that have actually had this as a possibility, right? And that possibility wasn't even around until a couple of years ago when people started saying, wait a minute, we understand all the mechanisms of aging.
Yeah, in theory, we've done it.
We get it, right?
Yeah.
And in theory, we've come up with answers to all of these things, right? And Aubrey de Grey's got all these things written down. This is what happens. This is why cells age. And he put it out there. Somebody find out another mechanism, right? Over 10 years later, no one's found out anything else, right? So that's pretty much it. And mechanisms have been created of how we're going to overcome these things. Now we need to make incredible leaps with engineering to put these things into practice, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of puzzle pieces.
So what do you do in between now and
then? That's what I say. Tell me what I'm doing that's actually killing me faster. That's going to stop me from making it.
And even more important, say you could live forever, right? Say we had that technology right now. It doesn't mean you're going to thrive. How are you going to thrive? Most of thriving has to do with how you perceive your environment, right? How you perceive your environment, it's filtered through your spirit, right? Now, your spirit's not something ethereal, right? It's basically your willpower, your logic, how you perceive, how you filter things. It's you at your highest level, not your lowest level, your highest level. So most people are responding directly to their emotions and directly to the impetus around them, right? The people that train themselves, they're acting on a higher level of their spirit, right? So someone tries to press their button, say something nasty to you, or a stressor, someone dies in your life or something like that, you're able to say, okay, I'm feeling these emotions. These are my responsibilities because of this action, but I'm just going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to keep my face relaxed. I'm going to take control of my breath, and I'm going to do what I can because I know that anything that's beyond that is beyond my capacity.
Yeah.
Right? And if I try to go beyond my capacity, I can't treat myself well and I can't treat others well. Right? And that's what a spiritual practice is about. And if you're in that state, you're in flow. And when you're in flow, you're happy because you're content. Now, it's not giddy happy. It's not like this, I'm getting a massage at the spa, right? It means that in real time, I'm happy with my choices, right? You're not that happy in a spa. You're just receiving external pleasure, right? But to be truly happy with how you're acting, that's a whole different level. And that's what I want.
That's obviously connecting, the mind and the body. But, when you're having those happier thoughts or you're in that happier place, you're producing completely different hormones and enzymes to when you're feeling stress as well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that for decades it was ignored.
I mean, the ancients knew all about, working on the spirit.
Yeah.
Right? And it was even in the education systems, of many ancient cultures. It's devoid of our education system. So if I can help you develop your spirit through different exercises and through objective testing, right? Because it's something that can be measured. It's not something that's ethereal.
Yeah, I think that's what we want and need. It's a reward system.
Absolutely.
I want you to measure something and I want to improve and I want to see that better number.
Yeah. And if I help you to work on your spirit, what it helps me with is it helps me get you on a regimen. So if I can analyze where you're at and we create this medical engineering so that we can use all of these different tools. So there's stem cells, there's peptides, there's hormones, there's nutraceuticals, right? And the list goes on and on and on and on and on, right? And there's new technologies coming all the time. So I can create this program for you for the medical side. Then I have to create a program for you for your behavior, which is incredibly important, right? What do you do when you wake up in the morning, right? Do you do your practice and set yourself for the day? Because every night you go to bed, it's kind of like you die. Right?
Yeah.
And you wake up to a whole new day and you're a whole new person in a way, right? And what people usually do is they wake up right away and they grab their phone, right? And they go right into stress mode, right? Stay away from all that. Wake up early enough, wake up earlier than the kids get up, right? So that you can go, take your supplements when you fast, drink your water, your green tea, find somewhere quiet, relax for at least just a couple minutes. Do your practice.
It may be the only opportunity for the whole day.
Do your practice, And when I mean spiritual practice, I don't care if you're doing yoga, I don't care if you're doing Tai Chi, I don't care if you're doing meditation, whatever it is, but your practice is there so that you learn how to breathe and modulate your breath. Keep a calm face. I call it face of the saints. Right? Relaxed body. Right? Non-controlling of your thoughts, just watching what's there. Right? And then, now that you've created this calm state, an aware state, not checked out, not creating delusions, but really in real time, now you can go into your day, because now you did your practice. So now when all these stressors hit you, you realize that this is a stress, and I'm not going to let that stress take away my peace. I'm going to stay there, right?
You're in your zone.
Absolutely. And then all the things that are created for you, the protocol from our institution, we're going to be like, this is your protocol for eating. This is your protocol for fasting. This is your protocol for exercising, right? These are the protocol for sleeping. So all these things that you need to do and you need to modulate, the only way you're going to be able to do all that is through your spirit and the control of yourself. Now we have health coaches calling you to make sure that they're checking up on you, and when really hard stressors hit you, we're on top of it right away. In the past, when we would see people a la carte, when they'd just come in when they needed to, I wouldn't see patients for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, well, what happened? Oh, this person died, or this person got ill, or I lost my job, or whatever else happened. And so when those things happen to people, that's when they needed our help, right? That's when they needed the health coach to call them. How do we help you? Let's help you through this.
Yeah.
Don't get off your supplements. Don't stop your exercise.
That's when most of us just give up on so many of those things, because
Right.
we've only got the energy to cope with what's
Yeah.
at us, and we forget that we can get that help.
And if they stay with us during that, they come out of that stronger, right? Instead of completely depleted and say, I went through this really stressful situation and now I'm shot.
Yeah, because there is some damage that you can't undo. You know, we know there's cellular damage and aging that can be increased.
Sure.
You can't undo it. So the best way to avoid it is by preventing it.
Yeah, and staying on top, you know, and we know that you have X amount of lifespan, right? We can't determine exactly how much, but we can guess based on, you know, your risk factors and your family history and your genetics and all these other things. So the earlier you can come to do medical engineering, the more you can get. So if somebody has 50 years of lifespan left, you know, we don't know, but around that, maybe we can extend your life 15%, maybe we can extend it 20%. 20% of 50 years, it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
You come to me when you're 80, and maybe you have a 5-year expectancy, that's not a lot. So we want to come earlier so we get more extension.
I think the term medical engineering is great because people get that. You know, I check my car in every year and it goes and it has a service.
Right.
And, you know, and we forget that we're a functioning mechanical body.
And just think about it, like you're this really complex machine, probably the most complex machine on the planet.
Thank you.
And no one's really doing complete diagnostics head to toe from all the different functioning, right? So we know how to measure your brain. You know, we have quantitative electroencephalograms, right? We have a software program that's been around forever that's inexpensive called CNS Vital Signs, right? We can do functional MRI testing. I mean, like, there's so many cool things
and
that
actually,
we can do, right?
Let's back up there. So for people, because you're based in the States and you have some amazing practices, but people from all over the world are seeing this. So let us know some of the tests that you would recommend that people do. You know, your absolute, I know you want everything, but your absolute not negotiables.
My non-negotiables, so my lower level packages, my non-negotiables, and it's a lot to do to my training. So anti-aging, functional regenerative medicine, you know, and stem cell therapeutics is really the gist of my practice. Plus, I was a yoga teacher and I'm a third black Shaolin Kung Fu practitioner. So and that was before I even got into medicine. So I saw just people practicing yoga or practicing Kung Fu, you know, which includes your Tai Chi and your Qigong, really turn their whole life around and become very healthy just with physical practice. So it's a really big part of what I want them to do, and it's a big part of how I assess somebody. We know now that different stretching exercises and different breathing exercises turn on certain genes epigenetically that will make you turn on error correction genes. So telomerase, you know, and all these other like sirtuin genes, mTOR, these are all modulated by how you act. Can we modulate them with other things? Yeah, but we know that they're modulated by a lifestyle.
Yeah, and so for particular poses and different breathing techniques and different genes, where do people seek further information on that if they want to delve into that?
So they can go and they can, you know, join a yoga studio. They can join all this stuff. The reason that I call this medical engineering is like people go to conferences and they learn about all this different stuff. So you learn about stem cells, you learn about peptides, you learn about these different vitamins, and I want to get my hormones done, and I need to exercise a certain way. Oh, I want to learn this breathing technique. Who's going to coordinate all that for you, right? Even in the regular medical world, you go to a general practitioner and they're like, oh, go to the cardiologist, and then go to the endocrinologist, and then go over there. Are they really talking with each other and creating an engineering package for you?
Oh yeah, never.
No.
Never.
Right? Is your exercise coach, you know, really talking to your physician? Does a yoga teacher talk to your physician?
It feels like actually project managing your health is a full-time job. And most of us don't have that full-time
No, you
to
don't.
be able to give to it.
Absolutely not, right?
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If you want to join a program to make you better, to make you optimal, right? Because that's what we're shooting for. I want to make you perfect. It's never going to be possible, but that's the goal. If you don't have an impossible goal, then what are you really trying to achieve, right? So let's go for the impossible.
I'm a pretty positive person.
Right?
I think that's possible.
Right? So let's optimize you. So you have a person that just does yoga. right? They don't do a lot of other stuff, but they just practice yoga. So they practice yoga and they practice for an hour every day. And because they practice for that hour every day, they have better vitality, their weight's managed, right? They have better range of motion, they're able to control their emotions better, their outlook's better in life, right? It's a small amount of time and a great benefit. Now, if you're going to all these different places, I'm going to go to the stem cell doc, I'm going to get my hormones done over there, I'm going to go to this behavioralist to help me, learn, about my brain and controlling that, I'm going to go to my yoga teacher, oh yeah, I got to go to my strength coach. Where'd your life go?
Yeah.
Right?
You might be living for longer, but that would actually create stress.
It's going to create stress.
Yeah.
Now, if you have one place to go to that's managing all of this stuff and saying, look, right, yeah, you're going to do some balance training. Your balance training is about a minute a day, right? And you're going to do a lot of flexibility training, but it's X amount of times per day. And we have this whole medical engineering set up for you, but your education piece of that and your exercise and all that stuff, it's broken down like a martial artist. You come in and we say, you're a white belt. So what's a white belt nutrition plan? It's really simple, right? Did you follow that? Did you read the things we gave you? Did you learn from the videos that we gave you? And do you understand all that? And then once you show understanding and that you're able to incorporate that in your life, then you go on to the yellow belt program, right? And you learn a little bit more and you clean up your diet even more. And you're like, wow, I feel even better. And so all these things are laid out, but laid out so that you're doing all these different modalities in a very compressed period of time. And you only have one place to really answer to. And not that you're answering to them, but they're actually taking care of you. So the average person that comes in will do the assessment. They get a complete synopsis of what happened during that visit. And then they get their program laid out for them for the short term. Right? We tell them what their long-term, goals are, but focus on what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
2 days later, somebody calls you. Did you understand all this stuff? Did you get it all? 2 weeks later, health coach calls you, right? All right, you had these symptoms and you were complaining of these things. You started on this stuff. Did you understand it? Are you sleeping better? Yada, yada, yada. Right? So we're catching you in real time the whole time. And then moving you towards your goal. And is it going to take a long time? Yeah. Do you have a long time to live? Yeah. Right? So, you don't become a master of anything in 1 year. Yeah. Right? Anything really worth doing takes decades. And so over this period of time, as you come back every year, you just keep building on these foundations, right? So someone that's been doing this for 10 years, they know multiple breathing exercises, right? They know all kinds of yoga poses. They know qigong exercises, right? They even know how to modulate their sleep. Maybe they started to do, lucid dreaming stuff, right? Now they're doing, different fastings, and they've modulated their diet. They're mostly plant-based. Right? They can take more nutraceuticals because their body's used to it, right? Their hormones are dialed in, right? They're doing all these more advanced things. Now when we do acute EEG on them, their brain's more synchronous. When they first came in, it was asynchronous. So it just keeps building and building and building and building. And so we're making you better and better and better.
And I guess the biomarkers get more complicated as you're going to be achieving them.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it's based on income. Right? This is not available to the general public, right? And it's just like
what could make it available to the general public? Because
more people doing this.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So it's like anything. So medical engineering is a fairly new frontier in terms of I get it. I get that there's this piece and that, but we're going to put it together and engineer it specifically for you. So that's kind of new. So things are always more expensive when they're new. Yeah. So there'll be a tipping point kind of at a critical mass when everyone goes, you know what, that's the way to go. Yep. Rather than waiting to get sick and being prescribed an antibiotic for my symptoms.
Sure. It's exact. And a lot of the algorithms apply to everyone, right? But the biggest change is when you first come in. Because your situation when you first come in is going to be a lot different than everybody else. In 10 years, you're going to be doing a lot of the same stuff that the people that have been doing it for 10 years, right? Because now you're not going to have high inflammation, right? Now you're going to know all these different things that you can do by yourself to help yourself. Right? Now your hormones are balanced. Right? Now you're getting stem cells at regular basis. You know, now you're getting peptides when you need it. You know, when you get injured or something happens to you, you're under our care right away. And we deal with it acutely. Right? And you already have all the other tools to deal with it. So the longer you're with us, the more it's the same. The beginning is more individual.
Yeah. I was going to say to you, when we were talking, there was a couple of like generalized things that everyone can do because they're scientifically proven to just downright be bad for you. Right? And so, and it was about some of the foods that we're eating. So we're talking about dairy and we're talking about meat. Can you talk us through that?
Sure. Dairy I see all the time causing inflammation. Very rarely.
Because I'm dairy intolerant, so I asked Alex the question, what about people who seem to process it okay? Is that for them too, or is it just for us dairy intolerant people?
Can you eat dairy and meat and survive? Absolutely. All right? You'll survive. Are you going to thrive? Probably not. Right? You're probably going to have higher inflammation than you normally would. You're going to have a lot of high growth factors in your body that are turning genes on more than they should be, right? So plant-based diet, you're going to get a lot less inflammation, right? And you're going to turn down this metabolic churning. You know, you'll hear a lot of people like, oh, let's ramp up your metabolism. Let's ramp up your metabolism.
And it sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, right? Because you're like, oh, well, I'm going to have all this energy.
I'll lose weight.
Right, I'm going to lose weight and all that, but it comes at a cost, right? And the cost is, how many times can I read that DNA? And when I read that DNA, what's the problem that happens from reading that DNA? Do I get any kind of errors when I do that? So we can only transcribe parts of the DNA so many times before the errors catch up with us. And when those errors catch up, and you have these permanent, changes in the DNA, those parts don't work anymore, right? So we have great error correction enzymes, but even then, those can fail.
They run out, and so we're actually causing mutations.
We want to keep growth low. We want to keep metabolism low, right? And that's what we've learned with calorie restriction. So when you look at anti-aging, the only thing that's really been proven, without a doubt, is calorie restriction, right? From a single-celled organism all the way up to us, if you calorie restrict, you live longer. The more complex the organism, the less it works. The less complex the organism, the more it works.
And that sounds like a terrible thing for somebody who enjoys food. But what you were saying today to me earlier is if you can just think of lessening your calorie intake by about 15% over a year. Make it small lifestyle changes rather than an instant, unmaintainable.
And we teach people, to try to compress their eating, into a smaller part of the day rather than all throughout the day, right? So that your body can do more error correction and manage sugars better.
Right? So you wouldn't recommend grazing, which a lot of people
I don't like that.
recommend.
People will argue all these different ways, but if you want to manage one of major problems of aging, which is advanced glycated end products and advanced lipoxygenated end products. And basically what that is you take a sugar and you stick it onto one of the carbohydrates, or you stick it onto one of the proteins, or one of the proteins or one of the fats into your body. And when they connect in a really bad way, that receptor that it was, or whether it's a transporter or whatever it is, no longer functions. So your body's got to pluck that out of the cell membrane, recycle it, go to the DNA, transcribe another protein, fold it, transport it to the cell membrane. It's a lot of work, right? And if those products are too high, you can't keep up. When you do fasting,
you're busy fixing rather than
when you do fasting, you don't have all that sugar coming around all the time, right? So your lipoxygenated and end products, they drop. And so you're not doing as much damage in real time. So if I can lower how much damage is happening in real time, I can live longer. And I can put less stress in the entire system. And that's what we want to do. We want to buy time. Who
We
knows?
do.
When is all this new technology coming? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's coming, right? But we know that technology usually doesn't come as fast as we think, right?
But those are a couple of small, easy tweaks. You know,
Yeah,
losing the dairy, losing the meat,
yeah.
giving yourself time in the morning to have some stillness.
And people always say like, but I really like that food. I want that food, right? That gives me quality of life, right? Does it? Is that what you really want, right? Is that what your higher self wants, or is that what this lower self, emotional self wants, right? And people don't really look at it separately until they really start doing a practice that looks at that mindfully, right? What do I really want? Do I want to stuff my face with dairy? Or do I want to do something that means something in the world, right? Do I want to turn this body into the most amazing, form that it could be,
Yeah.
right? Or do I want to stuff ice cream down my
I
throat?
guess that's a good question.
Right?
Somebody goes,
What am I-
but
what am I really
love ice
achieving?"
cream, and it's like, really, that's the importance of your
Right.
life.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, we know from all these not primitive cultures, but cultures that came before us, that the people that were the most decadent, they destroyed themselves, right? And if you really want to be decadent, you're not going to really achieve much, because what you're doing is you're giving yourself over to primitive emotions rather than to your higher spiritual self.
Yeah.
Right? Higher spiritual self wants to do all these really cool things. It wants to be really productive in the world. It wants to make a difference. It wants to make you the best person you can be, and it wants you to affect everything around you in a positive way,
Cool.
right? Which eating ice cream is not going to do, right?
That's true. That's true.
So,
I love that that you are helping people to come to this in a really holistic, practical, and scientific sense. It's like a merging of
Yeah.
all the great things
Sure.
that we know. And thank you for spending your time for talking to us,
Oh, you're welcome.
Dr. Alex. And
Yeah.
Dr. Alex Paziotopoulos, and the Pazio centres are scattered throughout the US. And we'll have your contact details, because I'm sure you'll have more questions that you can pose
sure.
to Alex. But thank you very much
Oh, you're
for
very
your
welcome.
time. No ice cream?
Sorry.